They had followed the turtle for 2 days, which had gone deeper and deeper. They felt something must be wrong. They were already on the cliff. Under the cliff was a gushing lava pool, and the turtle crawled into the pool as if it were water. The group did not see the turtle emerging again. Was it killed by the heat from the lava? Jinriji guessed. Although creatures were not as smart as people, I have never seen a suicidal one. Jin Qiulai shook his head and said. Sun Minghua suddenly said excitedly, I know. You should remember I've told you that the creatures normally eat plants in order to give birth. After leaving the ocean, the turtle had consumed lots of plants in Copper Mountains. Maybe its goal was to give birth here, said Sun Minghua in excitement. Giving birth here? Jin Qiulai pointed at the lava pool incredulously. Although lava is fatal to humans, maybe it is not to the creatures. Did you notice the red patterns on the turtle's back? They look like lava. Maybe the turtle was born here in the lava. You know, some turtles in our world also give birth in the sand despite that they live in the ocean, explained the professor. Hansen watched the lava pool as he listened to the professor. He thought the professor's explanation made a lot of sense. The behaviors of the turtle was much like the golden growler. Maybe it was indeed giving birth here. However, if it was really like the golden growler, then it would die after spitting out its life essence. No matter how powerful Hansen was, it was impossible for him to jump into the lava for the life essence. When the group were still discussing, they suddenly stopped as they heard an odd noise. They looked to the direction of the noise and saw a giant creature emerging from a cave below them, breaking stones as it went. It turned out to be the creature that they saw from the underground river. The group were all frightened. They did not even dare to breathe. Very soon, they found out that the creature did not come for them, but went toward the lava pool under the cliff. No way, is that creature also born from the lava pool? Hansen said to himself. He was so curious that he looked down from the cliff. Jinriji, Jin Qiulai and Sun Minghua all let out a sigh of relief. Like Hansen, they were also curious and wanted to see what the creature was up to. In a minute, the creature made it to the side of the lava pool, but it did not enter as the group had imagined. Circling around the lava, the creature then crawled toward the stone wall next to the pool. The group felt weird. The stone wall had nothing on it and they wondered what the creature was trying to do. As they were wondering, the creature suddenly threw itself hard at the wall as if it was agitated. Bang! The rocks fell under the impact. However, the stone wall was still intact. The creature hit the wall again and again in madness and the cracks were growing on the wall, while the creature itself was also injured and covered in blood. However, it did not stop ramming against the wall, as if the wall had killed its parents. Hansen gazed at the cracked stone wall. Initially, he thought the wall was red because of the creature was bleeding. However, with a closer look, it was more than the creature's blood. There seemed to be liquid infiltrating through the cracks from the other side. Under the glow of the lava, the liquid also seemed to be red. However, Hansen could tell that it was not blood, but more like water. Water. Hansen suddenly understood what the creature was going for. Behind the stone wall, there was very likely a branch of the underground river. The creature was trying to break the stone wall in order to feed water into the lava pool. Damn it, this creature is treacherous. It is trying to lead the water into the lava. Hansen thought. In the alliance, when water met heat of the lava, one possibility was that the water would evaporate. However, if there were enough water, the lava would be turned into a piece of rock. Even if the turtle could survive in the lava, it didn't mean that it could survive in the rock. If the turtle was sealed in the rock, Hansen did not know if it was still feasible for him to obtain the turtle's life essence. Put on gas masks, Hansen exclaimed at the rest and quickly slapped a mask on himself. Although Sun Minghua, Jinriji, and Jin Mingli did not understand why Hansen was asking, they had grown enough trust in Hansen recently, so they simply followed his instruction. Shortly after they put on the masks, they suddenly heard cracking and spluttering. Water started to come out of the stone wall that was more and more damaged by the creature, flooding into the lava and giving rise to pungent gray smoke. Get back. Don't get yourselves burned by the steam. Hansen did not dare to stay and watch, pulling the professor back with him. Bang! When the four of them stepped back, they heard a loud noise of stones crashing and water falling. Then there was a sizzling sound. With the rising of gray smoke, the entire cave became extremely hot that it was almost unbearable. The group quickly ran back. Fortunately, the gray smoke did not expand very fast. It took some time for the smoke to rise to the cliff. When they reached a small cave far from the cliff, they were covered in gray dust. I will go have a look. Hansen did not want to let go. He had prepared so long to kill the turtle and would hate to see it killed in the lava. The giant creature rolled around in the lake in excitement, screeching cheerfully. The turtle died just like that. Hansen could not believe that a super creature was killed so easily. It was unlikely. Hansen decided. This creature is so devious to think of such a strategy. I wonder what's its grudge against the turtle, said Jin Mingli, walking over and joining Hansen. When Sun Minghua was about to say something, they suddenly heard rocks broken. The fresh rock ground started to crack. The giant creature was also alarmed by the sound, and straightened its back like a cobra in attack mode, staring at the broken basalt vigilantly. Boom! The basalt suddenly burst. A huge black turtle rushed out from underneath with splashing lava like a returning demon. The moment the turtle came out, it screamed at the giant creature and threw itself at the creature with its head hidden inside the shell. The creature twisted its huge body and dodged the turtle. However, the turtle reached out its head and bit the creature in the air. The creature screeched and curled its body around the turtle, biting at the turtle's neck with its crocodile-like mouth. The two creatures were at each other's throat, rolling around in the lake, breaking rocks as they went. The group were dumbstruck by the monsters' fight and felt like watching a movie. Hansen was secretly exhilarated. Since the creature was able to match the turtle, it was very likely also a super creature. If that was the case, maybe he could get really lucky. As Hansen was imagining killing two super creatures at once, gobbling on their life essence and becoming a super aristocrat, he very soon realized that his dream was unlikely to be realized. The two creatures managed to knock the basalt ground open. Lava erupted from the gaps and met more water. Gray smoke once again filled the space. Roaring and rolling, the creatures continued their battle, shaking the entire underground cave. Hansen, let's go. It's too dangerous over there, Jin Riji shouted at Hansen. You go first. That will stay a bit longer, Hansen gritted his teeth and said, initiating Jadeskin at the same time. With the protection from both the Sacred Blood Phantom Ant Armor and Jadeskin, Hansen was able to stay put and watch the two creatures fighting. Although his sight was blurred by the gray smoke, he did not dare to approach the creatures and had to wait for a chance. Roars and shrieks rang, lava and water clashed, and gray smoke rose. Hansen could occasionally catch a glimpse of the two creatures. Fairy Queen. Hansen could not tell what was happening, and it was becoming worse. He quickly took back his phantom ant armor and shapeshifted into Fairy Queen. His hair became blonde and his armor red. Using the strong eyesight of the Fairy Queen, he continued to watch the fight. The Fairy Queen was indeed effective. Hansen saw that the creature had lost a huge piece of meat in the back of its head. Its bones bared and its blood continued flowing. From a crack in its bones, Hansen could vaguely see its brain. If I could stab my spear in this crack, I would have a big chance to kill it directly. Hansen took out the spinning spear from his backpack. Of course, he did not want to go down just like this. He would not be the match to either the turtle or this creature. With one blow from either of them, his body would be destroyed. Hansen took out the spear to use it like an arrow. Hansen also summoned the horn bow and used heresy mantra and overload. Incredible strength filled his body. His muscles became as tough as iron, and his veins stood out all over. Hansen fixed his golden eyes upon the two creatures rolling around in the smoke, lava, water, and rocks. He pulled the horn bow to the fullest. The spinning spear was not a beast's soul arrow, and could not be taken back once it was shot. He only had this one opportunity, and had to choose the right moment to kill the creature with one strike. Otherwise, he would lose this only chance. The turtle had the same thought as Hansen. It also tried to bite the injury in the back of the creature's head, but the creature did not give it any chance. A cold light flashed in Hansen's golden eyes. The spinning spear left the bow with a strong force, flying toward the screeching creature. Whoosh! The spear reached the back of the creature's head in the blink of an eye. Then, the spear head was stuck in the crack of its bones and did not make it through. The bones were so stiff that the spear failed to break it. However, the spinning force did not end. Like a drill head, the spear continued to dig into the bones, making sparks and smoke. Go deeper, Hansen roared inwardly. This is the only chance he got. Crack! It seemed that heaven was listening to Hansen. The cracks in the creature's skull was broken further by the spinning spear. With a pop, the entire spear entered the skull from the crack. Roar! With another painful cry, the crocodile-like head of the creature raised up for a few seconds and suddenly collapsed, shaking the entire cave. Larva of Super Creature Aqua Reaper killed. Beast Soul of Super Creature Aqua Reaper gained. Life Essence available. Consume its life essence to gain 0 to 10 Super Geno points randomly. Meat inedible. The voice Hansen heard made him jump. A Super Beast Soul. I finally gained a Super Beast Soul. Shortly, Hansen became calm again. It was not yet time to celebrate. The turtle was still there. Hansen now understood that the Aqua Reaper was still a larva. The reason why it could fight the turtle was likely that the turtle had just laid its eggs in the lava, and was still weak. Even so, the turtle was too strong for Hansen to kill. At least before he had gained a strong weapon, there was no way he could hurt the turtle. After the Aqua Reaper was shot dead, the turtle threw a gaze at where Hansen was, sending a chill down his spine. However, the turtle merely looked at him and then left the cave from the opening on the stone wall made by the Aqua Reaper. Hansen was overjoyed. If the turtle did not leave, he did not even dare to go down and collect the life essence. Before Hansen went down, he saw that the body of the Aqua Reaper gradually dissolved and disappeared in the thin air. Thump! A football-sized purple crystal fell into the lake along with the spinning spear. Hansen did not dare to hesitate anymore and quickly jumped from the cliff, summoned his sacred blood wings in the air, dived into the lake and dredged up the life essence and the spear. Licking at the purple crystal, Hansen heard the voice he had missed so much. Life essence of super creature Aqua Reaper consumed. No super geno point gained. The voice cheered Hansen up. He continued to look at the life essence of the Aqua Reaper, which became purple liquid in his mouth. As he swallowed the liquid, the coolness filled his body, nurturing every body cell. After licking for a while, Hansen eventually heard the voice telling him he had gained 1 super geno point. Such a giant Aqua Reaper turned out to be a larva. If it was in the adult form, it would not be smaller than the golden growler. Maybe it was because the life essence was from a larva. Hansen had gained 7 super geno points from eating the entire crystal, which was less than what he used to get. However, Hansen was satisfied already. Originally, he thought it would take him a while longer before he could kill a super creature, but he just managed to kill one by chance and gained 7 super geno points and a super beast soul. What a surprise! Looking at his super geno point count, which was now 26, Hansen was very pleased. "Sen, are you okay?" Jin Riji asked from the cliff. Jin Riji, Jin Mingli and Sun Minghua were all looking down from the cliff and became excited when they saw Hansen. "I'm fine." The two creatures both left. "Let's follow this opening to go out. I see light on the other side. This should be an exit," said Hansen, pointing at broken stone wall. Returning to Glory Shelter, Hansen heard someone had seen the turtle crawling back into the ocean. Although it was a shame, Hansen was not too disappointed because he had gained a lot from the Aqua Reaper. Type of Super Beast Soul of Aqua Reaper, Parasite. Hansen studied the beast soul of the Aqua Reaper in the shelter and found that it was something he had never seen before, a parasite beast soul. Like the beast soul of the Beetle Knight, it could not be summoned, and Hansen had no idea how to use it. However, normally speaking, a rare beast soul was a strong beast soul. If Hansen had high hopes for this beast soul and wished to find out more about it after he had access to the Skynet. Yang Zikan did not ask Hansen to meet in God's sanctuary, but managed to get Hansen out of Blackhawk and took him to a private club. Hansen had little faith in the so-called closed-door military training at this point. Those with means could always open the doors. Business first. You can learn boomerang from me anytime. I have a fair rate for tutoring, Hansen smiled and said. Yang Zikan gave him a thumbs up and said, "Great. I love how direct you are. I'll be straightforward with you then. I've asked you to come today because I need some sacred blood beast souls and wonder if I can purchase some in Steel Armor Shelter. Sacred blood beast souls are rare. Too many people need them, yet too few want to sell. Even if someone was to evolve and sell part of their sacred blood beast souls, those beast souls would most likely be reserved in advance. Does this private club also deal beast souls from Second God's Sanctuary?" Yang Zikan was puzzled and explained to Hansen, "That is possible. Mr. Zhu, could you check for me how many sacred blood beast souls we could use in Sapphire Shelter of Second God's Sanctuary?" asked Yang Zikan. "Currently, we have 3 sacred blood beast souls that we can use in Sapphire Shelter. One is..." After he had explained everything, Mr. Zhu stepped back and waited for Yang Zikan to speak. "Brother, what do you think?" Yang Zikan asked Hansen. Mr. Zhu looked at Hansen in surprise. He knew very well Yang Zikan's character and thought Hansen must be someone important so that Yang Zikan will treat him this way. "I am very interested in the sacred blood armor and sacred blood mount. I have 3 sacred blood beast souls that I want to use to exchange for those 2. Do you think that's doable?" Hansen pondered and asked. Mr. Zhu frowned upon Hansen's words. Although the sacred blood beast souls in First God's Sanctuary were rare, the normal value of a sacred blood beast soul from the first and one from the second were 3 to 1. Although the sacred blood armor and sacred blood mount in Sapphire Shelter were not the best, he would not necessarily trade them for even 6 sacred blood beast souls in First God's Sanctuary. "Brother, can you show us the beast souls you have?" Yang Zikan said with a smile. Hansen summoned his 3-blade harpoon, brandished it briefly and said, "I think you should recognize this 3-blade harpoon. Huangfu Pinking once showed it at an auction. It is rather sharp among sacred blood weapons." Mr. Zhu was dazed. He had heard of this harpoon. In fact, they did a lot of business with Ares Marshall Hall. and he had thought about acquiring this harpoon before. In terms of sharpness, the 3-blade harpoon was more than just rather sharp, but definitely one of the sharpest weapon in First God's Sanctuary. Brother, are you really going to sell this? Young Zikan asked Hansen in surprise. Sure, Hansen smiled. This 3-blade harpoon did not mean as much to him at this point. He could not kill a super creature with this harpoon, and since the harpoon was not a sword, he could not attach the devil sword to it. Hansen still had the pair of skeleton's daggers, which were as sharp as the 3-blade harpoon. Although they were not as valuable as the beast's soul, to Hansen they functioned equally well. Therefore, Hansen wanted to sell his harpoon. For the second piece of beast's soul, Hansen summoned the tornado wolf. Amount? Asked Yang Zikan, gazing at the tornado wolf. Yang Zikan had never seen such a mount before and did not know what it could do. Mr. Zhu frowned slightly. Although the 3-blade harpoon was great, a sacred blood mount from Second God's Sanctuary was definitely worth at least 3 sacred blood mount in the first. Hansen smiled and explained, it is a mount called Tornado Wolf. It is nothing but fast. You should have heard about Blast Horse. Of course, Blast Horse is the fastest mount in First God's Sanctuary. Young Zikan nodded and said, this Tornado Wolf is slightly faster than Blast Horse. What do you think of it now? Said Hansen casually. Mr. Zhu stared at the Tornado Wolf and asked, are you serious? Is it really faster than Blast Horse? If you don't believe me, you can try it out. If it is not faster than Blast Horse, I will give it to you for free, said Hansen with a smile. Although the 2 beast souls Hansen had shown them were both top-notch, he still needed the 3rd beast soul to wow him before he would consider the deal. As he was still thinking, Hansen had summoned the 3rd beast soul. Hansen suddenly shapeshifted into a giant bear, a shapeshifting beast soul. Yang Zikan and Mr. Zhu were overjoyed. Sacred blood shapeshifting beast souls were very rare, and the one Hansen was showing could even use different martial arts and weapons. A beast soul like this would be bid to the sky. Yang Zikan asked Mr. Zhu to prepare the contract. After they both signed, Mr. Zhu arranged for a guy to transfer the 2 sacred blood beast souls to Luo Sulan. After completing the deal, both parties were satisfied about the transaction. Originally, Yang Zikan only wished to gain 1 or 2 sacred blood beast souls. In the end, he was able to obtain 3 top-notch beast souls, which were all practical as well. Brother, you have so many excellent beast souls. Can you show us a few more? Yang Zikan looked at Hansen excitedly. Mr. Zhu also looked at Hansen curiously. A person that had so many amazing beast souls triggered his curiosity. Since Hansen was selling incredible beast souls, what beast souls would he keep for himself? After Hansen returned, he organized his beast souls. The sacred blood beast souls he had were Black Beetle Armor, Bloody Slayer, Purple Winged Dragon, Fairy Queen, Hornbow, Golden Rock Worm King, Phantom Ant, Three-Eyed Cat, Color Shifter, Holy Angel, Beetle Knight, Flame Lieutenant, and Devil Sword. Last but not least was the Super Beast Soul Aqua Reaper. Although Hansen did not know how to use it at this point, Hansen believed it must be an incredible beast soul. Wang Mingmeng rarely asked him of anything. Since it was just a party, of course Hansen would not turn her down. Wang Mingmeng took Hansen to a private garden with food and drinks already arranged. Hansen found a spot and started to eat, while Wang Mingmeng went to change. Hansen, how come you're here? Someone exclaimed when seeing Hansen in the garden. Tang Zhenliu. Hansen was also dazed. He did not expect to see Tang Zhenliu there. You're connected to the Wangs. Tang Zhenliu sat down next to Hansen and asked. Wang Mingmeng is my schoolmate. She was the one who invited me to this party. Hansen answered. Tang Zhenliu looked at Hansen oddly and said, you're not telling me that you don't know today is her birthday. Hansen was surprised and said, today is Mingmeng's birthday. You really don't know. Haha, it seemed that you two were quite tight. Tang Zhenliu patted Hansen on the shoulder, laughing. Hansen was a bit concerned. Had he known that it was Wang Mingmeng's birthday, he would have prepared her a gift. But it might be too late for that. Hansen searched his pockets and found nothing that he could give her. Tang, do you have an extra present? Could I borrow some? Hansen looked at Tang Zhenliu expectantly. I only have one gift. In addition, how can you borrow the present? Tang Zhenliu said with his lips curled. Hansen wanted to say something, but he saw more people entering the garden. Among the men and women, Hansen spotted Son of Heaven and Huangfu Pinking. The birthday party was successful, and nobody paid Hansen any mind. Hansen continued to fill his stomach, while Tang Zhenliu was socializing with men and women in the high society. Son of Heaven had gained much more repose. He was no longer the domineering and overbearing person in steel armor shelter. When do you plan to evolve? As Hansen was eating, Son of Heaven walked to him and asked in a plain tone. In 2 or 3 years, Hansen paused and answered. He felt like Son of Heaven had become a different person. Maybe he was possessed or something. Son of Heaven curled his lips into a strange smile. He raised a glass to his lips and sipped some wine. I know what you're thinking. But since I entered second God's sanctuary, I no longer treated you as my enemy. My true enemy could only be an evolver, which you are not. As long as you do not enter second God's sanctuary, you will not understand what true strength is and how naive you are. In the future, if you are sent to Dark Lord's shelter, you can join my team. You're a good archer and I need someone like you. Evolve soon and stop playing house in first God's sanctuary, Son of Heaven said and patted Hansen on the shoulder. Then he walked to a corner and sat down, observing the crowd in the party. Hansen was surprised by Son of Heaven's behaviors. If Son of Heaven wanted to kill him, he would not feel much. However, Son of Heaven no longer cared. This shift was alarming to Hansen. Hansen could feel that Son of Heaven no longer thought of him as an opponent. The guy treated Hansen as a stone in the hand of a Go player. A player would never treat the stone as his opponent or his enemy. You only evolved a few years earlier, and that does not mean you are superior. Hansen curled his lips and did not treat Son of Heaven too seriously. If he entered second God's sanctuary before he maxed out on his super geno points, that would be a real loss. I don't understand why you're lingering in first God's sanctuary, said Huangfu Pinking with a sigh after Son of Heaven left. I need to stay for lots of reasons, said Hansen calmly. You must be maxing out on your sacred geno points. Come to second God's sanctuary. Everything begins there. Huangfu Pinking tried to persuade him. I still need a lot more sacred geno points. It will probably still take me at least 2 years, said Hansen with a smile. Huangfu Pinking stared at Hansen for a moment and said with disappointment, believe it or not, I never meant you any harm. Come to second God's sanctuary so that you can be truly strong. I believe you, Hansen said, blinking. Huangfu Pinking rolled her eyes at him and said, do not linger upon any romantic relationships. It would not serve you well. You know what my cousin said about you. He said if you evolve too late, you would not even be worthy of being his enemy, let alone friend. Huangfu Pinking thought the reason why Hansen would not leave first God's sanctuary was because he had feelings for Wang Mingmeng, which surprisingly annoyed her. Watching Huangfu Pinking leave, Hansen said to himself with a faint smile, unworthy of being his enemy. Son of Heaven is so full of sh-t. I hope he will have the same confidence to say that after I go to second God's sanctuary. Hansen paid no mind to what Son of Heaven and Huangfu Pinking had said and continued to eat and drink. Brother, this is my last birthday in military school. I don't know if I will have another opportunity to invite you to my birthday party, so Wang Mingmeng said apologetically when she eventually had time to come to Hansen. Whenever you ask me to come, I will come. The next time, you have to remind me it is your birthday so that I could buy a present for you. You know, I don't have the best memory in the world, said Hansen with a smile. The best present is your presence, Wang Mingmeng said, blushing a little. That is very sweet, but I have to give you a gift. Hansen pondered, wrote something on a napkin and gave it to Wang Mingmeng. He said, consider this your birthday present. Sister, happy birthday. Thank you. Wang Mingmeng started to read the napkin cheerfully. Both Son of Heaven and Huangfu Pinking noticed what was happening and wondered what Hansen had written. It said, Wang Mingmeng could use this coupon to make one of her wishes come true. Hansen. Son of Heaven curled his lips with contempt and left. In his view, it was a cliché to chase after a girl. If it was any other occasion, it might be okay. However, in Wang Mingmeng's birthday party, the fact that this was all Hansen had to offer showed how incompetent Hansen was. Wang Mingmeng was the princess of the Wangs. She could basically have anything in the world, and how could an unevolved person ever fulfill her wish? Hansen was simply unable to give Wang Mingmeng a satisfactory gift. Brother, can I ask for anything? Wang Mingmeng asked expectantly. Anything I can do, Hansen smiled and said. Thank you, brother. This is the best present I have received today. Wang Mingmeng put away the coupon carefully. It seemed she did not plan to use it right away. He had not logged in Gladiator for a while. Checking his friend list, Hansen found that both Queen and QHZ were offline, and Desperado, whom he added long time ago, he was online. Since adding him, Desperado had never sent him a message or invite. Hansen did not understand why Desperado would add him in the first place. He was very impressed by Desperado, who had very high fitness level. Hansen was matched with him randomly by the system several times and lost within a few movements every time. Sparring with such a master, Hansen could barely learn anything because he lost too fast. Closing the friend list, Hansen suddenly received an invite from Desperado when he was about to be matched randomly. Hansen hesitated and clicked yes. He did not care if Desperado simply wanted to kick his ass, because hardship was what made one improve. Hansen accepted the invite and entered Gladiator. Seeing Desperado was still empty-handed, Hansen chose not to use any weapon as well. Friend, which branch in Ares Martial Hall are you from? After the countdown ended, Desperado did not attack but sent Hansen a message. Hansen was dazed and answered, I am not in Ares Martial Hall. Desperado was surprised. There were plenty of students from Ares Martial Hall in Gladiator. Since Hansen was able to mimic 13 slashes and diversion, Desperado thought he might be someone from Ares Martial Hall, which turned out not to be the case. Are you interested in joining us? Desperado asked. He was interested in this person who could keep QHZ interested in fighting him. I'm sorry, but I am still in military school, replied Hansen casually. Desperado was dazed. If he was in military school, he could only be a researcher or teacher, because of the military school students should be unevolved. Which school? Asked Desperado. I cannot say, said Hansen, unwilling to leak any personal information. Desperado did not ask and gestured the Hansen to start. Hansen threw a punch and Desperado copied his move. Hansen was surprised and then understood what Desperado was trying to do. Desperado was mimicking Hansen's techniques and limiting his own fitness level to around 30. Hansen felt amused. He was a copycat himself, while a master like Desperado would choose to copy him. He wondered what Desperado was up to. Maybe a master always has some quirks. Hansen did not care, since he had learned these techniques from others anyways. Hansen continued to attack, practicing what he had learned. The various techniques that Hansen had learned were mostly from QHZ, who had strong abilities in all aspects. Many techniques of QHZ seemed to be the advanced version of Panorama. Hansen had fought QHZ frequently and had learned a lot from him. Of course, Desperado did not copy Hansen to learn anything. What he was trying to do was to push Hansen to use his strongest skills. I will crush all the lesser techniques you use and push you to use what you truly got. Therefore, I could determine how strong you actually are. Desperado was confident in doing that. Although he did not have a distinct personal characteristic like Queen did, he had an eclectic style, and was famous for that in Ares Martial Hall. Very soon, Desperado started to feel confused. Hansen seemed to have unlimited techniques up his sleeve, many of which seemed similar to those taught in Ares Martial Hall. Desperado did not believe that Hansen was not from the same organization as he did. In addition, Desperado felt uncomfortable when fighting Hansen, which was a familiar feeling to him, but he could not think of when he had felt it. Desperado dodged another punch and found himself at the corner of the stage, almost hitting the wall. Queen, Desperado suddenly remembered what that feeling was. A soldier on warship used the same techniques Queen did. That will be all for now. I hope you find this story interesting. Leave a like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you won't miss the next part of this story. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.